Hello my beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. Today's video I'm going to be doing speed reviews on all the products that I've purchased from Sephora this year. If that sounds interesting to you, please continue watching. I have been on a low buy, and since the end of 2024 I still managed to purchase quite a few products from Sephora. From the beginning of 2025, I've been more on a low buy, and I've really been digging into my own existing collection. I have been really trying them through and through in different combinations, and I want to say that majority of the products that I have purchased so far from Sephora from end of 2024 up till now, they were very successful. While putting all these products together, I realized that a good portion of this haul were blushes. I have 7 new blushes that I've purchased since the end of 2024, and I decided that I'm going to put them in a separate video because those blush formulas are so good, all of them, and I want to give them a nice spotlight, show you the demos, the swatches, the application on the cheeks, things like that. So for the remaining of the products, I have a good handful of complexion products, lip products, and eyeshadows. Like I mentioned, a majority of these products I found very good, and they worked out for me, and there were definitely few that didn't make the cut. Before we get started, I would love to welcome new visitors and viewers to my channel. Hello, my name is Eve. I love all things beauty. Here on my channel, I share about beauty and lifestyle. And if that sounds interesting to you, I hope you enjoyed this video. Subscribe to my channel. I would love to have you in my corner of the internet. And now, without further ado, let's dive in. So I broke down all the products into somewhat categories, and let's begin from complexion products. I have this Surreal Skin Soft Blur Setting Powder in the shade 2 Neutral Light from Makeup by Mario. This powder was very hyped, so I of course bought into the hype. I am a combination oily skin, so powders is probably the easiest product for anybody to sell to me. I want to say that it is so thin, it's like an air thin. It is very nice, it mattifies. It has a little bit of a blurring effect. However, I also find that it's not long lasting on me. I would treat it more as a retouching and finishing powder. This is definitely not the powder that like locks everything in for me. I'm a combination oily skin, like I mentioned, but I also live in a very hot and humid climate. So I think that may also play into the equation. The next powder I picked up was one from One Size Beauty. This is an ultimate setting powder. I picked up mine in the shade Ultra Pink. This powder for me personally is a repurchase item. I used to have a translucent shade in this powder last year. I ran out of it, and I was repurchasing this knowing that the formula works for me. This is the formula that's a little bit heavier than the Mario one, and this is something that personally works for me for my a little bit more enlarged pores on my T-zone, and it's a little bit more heavy duty. It's definitely more long lasting. I know that this would last me for majority of my day with a minimal retouching. This powder I definitely stand by, and this pink shade is actually not super pink. I was definitely a little bit more concerned how pink is going to be, because I'm not really a huge fan of like the trend that's been going around, like that heavy pink bright under eye. It's just not something that I enjoy. I do like pink blush, pink lips, pink even eye makeup, but I never got on board with that like super pink, like under eye over your nose type of a trend. So it just was never for me. It just didn't seem like it would fit into my style. But I do enjoy this powder. It's just slightly bit pink, so if you wear a pink blush, it just nicely blends into your complexion. So I removed the sifter out of this powder because I just found easier access that way to the product. So this next complexion product is phenomenal for me personally. This is the one that I've been reaching for so often. It was pretty much my daily go-to since I picked it up in the spring. This is a liquid contour. I have mine in the shade Gentle from Rare Beauty. So the shade and the formula works so perfectly for me. I have already included this product into my monthly favorites. I've talked about this a few times on my Instagram. I can easily say this is one of the best products I've tried in a very long time. Something that, you know, when you purchase, you constantly just using it because it just becomes like an absolute favorite product. I have a pretty extended makeup collection. However, for my fair complexion, this automatically became a staple product that I currently do not want to be without. This has the easiest blendability. It does build up. The other day I forgot and I powdered my face, and this went on powdered face like no issues. This is such a universal perfected formula in my opinion. And this shade, if you are similar to my complexion, today I'm at my palest. I have been not tanning, so I actually haven't tanned this year. Usually during the summer I try to tan, and this summer my mind has been in other places, so I just have been embracing my paleness, my pale complexion, and this product came in clutch like no other. The shade definitely has a little bit of coolness, but it also at the same time has a touch bit of warmness. So it doesn't make you gray or ashy. This has that just enough amount of warmness to the contouring undertone. It's blendable, but it's also not very emollient. I almost feel like if I don't want to set it with additional bronzer, I don't have to. Plus, what I mentioned earlier, it does go on a powdered face. So if you already have a set complexion with a powder, you add this, you no longer need to fix it with additional bronzer. A few months ago, I got a beauty fridge and it's a little bit too loud for my liking. And in the last few of my videos, when I was editing, I didn't realize it when I was filming, but when I was editing, I heard the buzzing noise and I was like, oh my God, it's really loud. You can really hear it. So I just turned it off. So just to make sure it's not spoiling my entire video. So the next Complexion product got some mixed reviews, and for most part, I think people agreed on one single flaw from this product. This is a setting spray from Huda Beauty. I do overall enjoy the aesthetic look of this packaging. Product itself and the matte finish that this gives you, it's actually very, very cool. It keeps my makeup set the entire time. It almost like locks it in, and it has this like powder effect. One thing that I definitely agree on is that this spray is a little bit faulty. This spraying area right here is a little bit messy. So I know some people said that it's like leaking, it's very messy. Mine doesn't do that, not yet at least, but it is definitely a little bit messy because I feel like it has that like powder substance in the formula. So when the liquid dries out here, it just becomes a little bit messy looking. Overall, I really love the effect of this setting. So the next complexion product that I want to do a shout out to, because I've already talked about this product quite a few times in my previous videos, and this is a Sephora Luminizer, the powder highlighter if you will, and I got mine in the shade 05 Iced Pearl. Beautiful formula that is very smooth on the face. It's buildable, but you can also tone it down a little bit. If you go in a one light layer, it's actually going to give you that more like from within type of luminosity. I really have been enjoying this. So the next two complexion products are concealers. So the first one that I want to talk about is a little bit controversial. I think most people did not love it. It worked out for me, what can I say? This is a Surreal Skin Awakening Concealer. I have mine in the shade 140, Makeup by Mario. This is more of your like high medium, closer to full coverage concealer. It is a little bit buildable, but I feel like one layer is perfectly enough. I really love how it blends. It definitely needs to be set. This shade is really good for me. It has a tiny bit of yellow undertone, I want to say. The darkness sometimes that I have under my eyes, this yellow undertone cancels this really nicely and gives me like that brightening effect. I personally very much enjoy it. I do have some redness like on the corners of my eyes. That covers very well with this formula. I might be in a minority with this, but I've been using this left and right. Here's the next concealer that I picked up, and this is from Hourglass Vanish Airbrush Concealer, and I have mine in the shade Bisque 1.8. This is a concealer that's a little bit more of your full coverage concealer. A little goes a long way. I don't feel like I need to build this up. It's nicely brightening, also needs to be set. It wears very well throughout the day. I do have a mini here. I just wanted to make sure this formula works for me before I purchased a full size. Then I also purchased this complexion product, Skin Smoothing Talc-Free Perfecting Powder from Lawless. I purchased mine in the shade 22, which described as sheer soft brightening pink for fair to light skin tones. I was really hoping to get that like nice brightening effect and smoothing effect, which this is how it was described. It's described as ultra lightweight powder, smooth, blurs, and perfects for soft matte skin-like finish. Those are kind of the things that fit into what I was looking for. Everything that it describes, it actually was present upon initial application of this powder. However, the brightness and the effect would disappear in about 2 to 3 hours. I feel like it would almost oxidize under my eyes. First, it would be like really nice and brightening under my eyes, and like 2-3 hours, it would just blend with the rest of my complexion. And I was thinking, where did it go? My skin texture would start showing through a little bit. So I didn't really see a purpose of the powder being in my collection because it was simply not doing what I would want it to do. We're talking about a few things that didn't work out. Let's talk about two mascaras. They are very, very popular. I do have both of them in my stash. However, I no longer use them. They both did not meet my expectations, and in my opinion, they did not stand out for their hype. They did not stand for their claims, and yeah, I was disappointed, I have to say, because those are not like $10 mascaras. One of them I managed to just use for a little bit, maybe like good 2 weeks, and another one I just used 3 times and it went straight to the bin. First one is the Exaggerize Volume Mascara from Charlotte Tilbury. I have to say that this packaging is 20 out of 10. It is absolutely gorgeous. It seems like it's glass. It's nicely weighted. It's absolutely stunning in person. I don't think the curve is too bad. Generally, I do prefer mascara wands that are just straightforward, like whether it's plastic or natural bristles. I am flexible in that department, but I do like more of like a straight wand. Easier for me to apply the product on my lashes, just the way my eyes are. This is not a very exaggerated curve. However, I found this difficult to apply on my eyes. It's very, very smudgy. It would clump up my lashes. This tube is practically new. Like I said, only used it 3 times, but it does smudge, not only at the beginning upon application, but it also would like smudge and make that kind of like a dirty under eye throughout the day. It doesn't matter how many times I would retouch, it would just keep imprinting. So it's something that's a no-go for me. And I set my complexion always with powder, and this just kept smudging, and that is absolute deal breaker for me when it comes to mascara. So the next mascara that unfortunately did not work out for me as well is this one from Rare Beauty. This is much simpler packaging. It's just like a more of like a light plastic. There's really nothing super special here. The wand is very nice shaped, and I really enjoy the natural bristles. This mascara, while it would give me like a nice volume, but it would smudge and clump up so badly. It would also have flakes. So I've talked about this mascara in my Instagram stories quite a few times because I kept testing it. I tested it on my lashes when some of my lashes were missing. I also had this mascara when I had my full lashes. And I have to say that this mascara definitely look much better when you already have nicer, fuller lashes. It gives you like a really nice medium volume. It kind of reminded me of the Lash Paradise from L'Oreal, kind of the same effect. I even think that they have similar wands. However, this mascara clumps up. This mascara smudges just the same way like Charlotte Tilbury. It would smudge throughout the day, like under my eyes. And also, this would have flakes. Like as I would apply, the flakes would just like fly and like land here, land here, land here, like random places. I would try to remove them with a spoolie brush, and they would leave a smudge on my complexion that would not come off after that, and I would have like a really dark spot like somewhere in the random place of my face. This would just simply piss me off when I had my full entire complexion done, and the very last step in my routine of makeup application, this would basically ruin my entire face. I typically would apply my makeup in the beginning of the day, and it is such a silly thing to spoil your mood because of the makeup product. It's just simply not worth it. So let's get into the eyeshadows because I feel like I have some really nice products to talk to you about, and there are unfortunately some products that didn't work out for me so well. So the first one I want to talk about is the YSL Quad. I purchased it for my birthday towards the end of the year. I mean, this is such a beautiful luxury packaging. This is a couture mini clutch, shade variation 710. A lot of these products that I am talking about today I featured in the video. We'll have a link for you in the description box and at the end in the cards for you to check it out. I was very, very curious about this quad to begin with, and I decided to start from a neutral because I generally love neutral makeup looks. I am a neutrals lover, and this did not disappoint, you guys. This is such a beautiful luxury feeling formula. All four shades here are slightly bit different from each other. This darker shade is a satin. It does have a sheen to it. It's so pretty. The shimmers are also different because this one is more of your like satin shimmer, and this one has micro shimmers in it, micro sparkles, so it picks up on the light very nicely. I do enjoy both of the shades as a single eyeshadow all over the lid. The formula is exceptional. I know it's very, very pricey, baby, but if you want to treat yourself, if you want to spoil yourself, buy yourself a gift, this is definitely a good quality. So I think I was watching Alejandra Lisette here on YouTube, and she is a queen of eyeshadow sticks, and I think I just got inspired from her videos. Most of these products I actually purchased like towards the end of spring and summer, and I actually ended up using them quite a bit. So first I picked up the Fenty eyeshadow stick. It's called Shadow Sticks Longwear Eyeshadow Stick, and I had mine in shade Sip and Sparkle 01. I think when you swatch it, it definitely has more of an impactful effect. However, when you apply it on your eyelids, it gives you more of that traditional satin shimmer, but it's such a pretty color. Also beautiful for inner corner. This wears really well. It doesn't fade. It doesn't crease on my eyelids. Then I picked up this eyeshadow stick from Sephora. It's officially called Colorful Shadow Stick and Liner. It's a waterproof formula. I have mine in the shade 00 White Matte. Initially, I tested it when I was traveling in Europe, and then they didn't have it in stock, so I came back home here to US, and I found this in my local Sephora. So I tried this in my waterline and also as an eyeshadow, but my final verdict is that it doesn't necessarily, for my personal liking, it doesn't look that great as an eyeshadow on my lid or in my inner corner. I feel like it kind of looks a little bit patchy and kind of uneven, but it stays very, very well on the waterline. And I do have watery eyes. My eye line is very, very sensitive. Anything that touches it, I immediately get like waterworks. This stays the entire day without retouching. This is a really nice waterproof version. Well, it does say waterproof here after all. So then I also picked up these two single liquid eyeshadows from Armani Beauty, and I wanted to try the formulas. So I picked up one matte neutral and then a shimmer. The matte neutral is a fit 22M, and then the shimmer I got in 12S. These are so easy to apply, both of these formulas. You can either use your fingers or like a nice medium dense brush. That's what I use. It doesn't dry out super fast, so you do have a really good time to blend it out, and it does not budge. It just wears so beautifully throughout the day. It's very natural color for me. That's kind of what I wanted, just like that very easy look for every day. It takes me quite literally no time to do the looks with these. It doesn't look like much of a makeup. It's not dramatic. It's not anything complex, but it does look like I made a little bit of effort to put myself together. So most of the products that I'm going to be talking about today in the lip category, I have on my lips today. I'm going to start with this lip liner. It's from Huda Beauty. I am so late to the game with this lip liner. This is a lip contour 2.0. I have mine in shade Honey Beige. I just wanted something nude, and this is a liner that is plastic. The cap is really nice intact, nothing is cracking, and this is a retractable outer liner. Not super pointy, but it's also not very large. It kind of reminds me of the Rare Beauty liner as well. I feel like they are very comparable. This is nicely creamy pigmented formula, but it wears really well on me, and I absolutely in love with this color. This also has a sharpener at the end, so if you want a little bit more precision, I just love the application. It's definitely one of my favorite lip liners that I now have on my stash. I kind of want to use it all the time. This has been definitely a big hit for me. So what else is on my lips today is this stain from Sephora collection. This is called Totally Juice Lip Tint. I'm not sure of the shade. I will pop it on the screen for you. This lip stain I have in the center of my lips. I have to say, this reminds me a little bit of a Rare Beauty lip oil stain that they launched, what, like a year or two ago, and it had a little bit of mixed reviews. I want to say that initially, upon initial application, it feels just like Rare Beauty. However, it wears a little bit better. I'm not disappointed with this product. I think it's lovely, and I continue using it. Here I try to wipe off both of the products, and you can see here's the lip liner still there, and then the stain is still there. It's not as pink anymore, but it still stains your lips really nicely. So continuing with a pink trend, I picked up very high product, the Lawless glosses, and I couldn't decide between the shades. I tested them, I swatched them in the store, and I decided to pick up both. I have shades Velvet Daisy and Juicy Watermelon. So the formula is really nice, but I will tell you, if you apply too much, it does get goopy. So I do go with a nice thin layer on my lips. Right now I have this shade, Velvet Daisy, just a little bit in the center just to get that glossiness, because the stain from Sephora does absorb after a while. Initially it does have a little bit of like that moisture and a little bit of glossiness. After 15-30 minutes it does absorb, so I wanted a little bit of glossy effect. I feel like less is more with this, and it does give you like a really nice glossy juicy lip effect, and it does have more viscosity, so it's a little bit of thicker formula, so it does stay on your lips pretty well in my opinion. However, when it comes to color, I do enjoy both of these colors, but as you can see, there's really not much of a difference. The Velvet Daisy is definitely a little bit like more neutral, warmer, I would say, and then the Juicy Watermelon is just a little bit on a cooler side, but there is a very slight difference. I usually use them as toppers. Once in a while I would just use them on their own. They're pretty transparent on their own, and I think if you were to choose a shade, I would say don't worry so much, because there is very slight difference between them, almost to the point that it's not noticeable. And then I also picked up more products from Armani Beauty. So they're called Prisma Glass, and I have mine in the shade 02 and 05. I really love the packaging on these lip glosses, and the applicators are really comfortable to apply the product on. So when it comes to the shades, it's kind of the same situation here as with Lawless glosses. This is more of like your warmer, more like neutral pink, and this one is a little bit on a cooler side, but I really love like this shade specifically. I don't know if the camera does it justice, but it has a little bit of pearlescence in it. In my opinion, this feels luxury. This has a balmy texture. It is glossy, but it gives you like the cushiony, balmy feel. It's a little bit thinner formulation, feels like a balm more than a gloss. Personally love it as a topper. I use it as a lip balm. I purchased it about like 3 months ago, like 2.5 months ago, and I'm like 1/3 in each tube, so I use them equally. I think it's phenomenal for it. So one more product that I wanted to mention here is also from Sephora collection, and it's a skincare item. It's a cleansing balm from Sephora collection. I was very upset when I learned that they discontinued the cleansing balm from Sephora collection that comes in that white and teal jar, and I believe this is like their newer version, updated formulation, and newer version of it. I was not really super impressed by it. While it is effective, it also would leave a residue, like an oily layer of residue on the skin, where like your eyes get a little bit of blurry from that residue too, so you would definitely need to follow up with a secondary cleanser. It just didn't give me the experience that I like from a cleansing balm. That's not something that I will be repurchasing in the future. If you enjoy this video review content, I do have series on my channel that I post on a quarterly basis. It's called Stash or Trash of Beauty Empties, where I basically talk about all the empty products, things that I've used up and tried and tested. A lot of the products that end up there are repurchases and staples in my collection. I will leave the link to the playlist in the description box for you. All right guys, these are all the products that I have purchased from Sephora so far since the beginning of the year and very end of 2024. I pretty much love everything. As you can see, there are very few nuanced products that did not work out for me, but for most part all these products are so good, and they bring me joy at the end of the day. I would love to know if you tried any of these products. What brings you joy? What is the one or few makeup products that you've been using lately that bring you joy? Share with me in the comment section below. I would love to chat with you there. If you're not yet a subscriber, I invite you to subscribe to my channel. Hope you enjoyed this video and enjoyed my company today, and thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in my next video. Bye.